Howdy ladies and gents, my name is Thom Gibson, and recently another teacher YouTuber by the name of Darin Nakakihara put out a video to other teachers to answer a list of questions when it comes to quarantine life and distance learning, called the Distance Learning Teacher Tag. I enjoyed Darin's video and I thought it'd be fun to make one of my own, and let's take a look at some of the questions. Question number one, what is your current teaching status? I am kind of on a unique situation where I am on paternity leave, but I am still writing sub-plans for the distance learning that's going on at my school. It's currently Tuesday, March 31st when I'm recording this. My school started distance learning last Wednesday, and I had a sub filling in for me on the Zoom calls and keeping the website up to date and everything like that. And so at the end of the week, I'm usually checking in with him saying, hey, how did the week go? And writing up sub-plans for the following week. And so I'm writing distance learning plans, but I'm not actually doing it myself. Someone's filling in for me while I'm on paternity leave until about May 4th. Currently, the governor of Texas says that all schools need to remain closed until May 4th. I anticipate it'll probably be till the end of the year, but I will be coming back May 4th. It'll be kind of wild to be completely absent during the distance learning part and then come back when we go back into school, if we do go back to school May 4th. So that'd be kind of interesting and kind of cool. I anticipate that I will be doing some of the distance learning though for that last part of the year when I come back. And I just answered question number two, which is how long is your school out? Until at least May 4th, but probably longer than that. Question number three, what is your best distance learning advice for teachers? And so even though I've been out, I have been on Twitter and kind of seeing what people are doing, what's working, what's not working, and then just thinking through what I think would actually be doable for my own students, and thinking of the fact that even when you have a household and you have the parents that are home and they're educated and everybody has devices, I have a couple colleagues where both of them are educators, and so they're both trying to do their own Zoom classes. Their kids are also trying to do their Zoom classes. And then it's like a lot of people don't have enough bandwidth to have 4 different Zoom classes going on. And so that was kind of eye-opening for me. And so I think significantly scaling down your expectations on what you think can be done at home is gonna be the best advice. And so I'm kind of thinking the stuff that I would normally cover in half a class period and maybe 45 minutes of a class period, that's gonna be something that I give the students for the entire week. The way that it's structured at my school online is they have 45-minute Zoom classes as opposed to our traditional hour-and-a-half long classes. They'll have periods 1 through 4 on Monday and Thursday. They'll have periods 5 through 8 on Tuesday and Friday. And then Wednesday is kind of like a flex day where students can kind of reach out to their teachers about assignments and have kind of like office hours the entire day. So scale back what you think can be done at home, and with the assignments that you do, see if there's something that the students can create. In my math class, we were scheduled to take a quiz when we got back from spring break. And so I'm like, well, they can't take a paper pencil quiz at home. So instead I had them actually do the quiz in Zoom in breakout rooms with somebody else and get as much of them done as they can. And then whatever they didn't finish in that first Zoom class earlier in the week, they would have to complete before the next Zoom class. And it was like 5 or 6 problems, but I didn't take a grade on that. Then when they got back to Zoom class on Thursday, they would go over all of the answers and talk about what they did, what they missed. That wouldn't be for a grade, but they have to pick 2 of those problems to either do a video explanation or a blog reflection on, showing that they actually conceptually understand how to do those problems, because that's going to show me and show the sub that they actually know how to do it, as opposed to them just putting an equation or something inside of some kind of calculator online and then just putting the answer there. It not only gives me a more accurate assessment of what they're doing, it's something that they are creating. They have created blogs in my classroom before, and so it's not completely new to them, but they also have the option to do a video if they want. And the way that I'm assessing that is really scaled back from what I would normally do in the classroom, but I'll go ahead and link to that assignment in the description down below. So that's actually 2 pieces of advice. Scale back the expectations of what you think they can get done at home by a lot. And if you can, have them create something as a way of showing what they know. Question number 4, what is your favorite social distancing snack? At Target, in the trail mix aisle, they have this trail mix called Monster Mix. That's like M&Ms and chocolate chips and peanut butter chips and peanuts and raisins. and I was getting these big, massive buckets of it and just going through it through the week. I didn't get one for this week because it was a lot, but I have been munching on plenty of bags of beef jerky when I'm feeling a little bit wanting to stay healthier, but we also have a stash of double stuffed Oreos up in the back of the pantry because I figure if it's in the back, it won't be as easily accessible to me and my wife. Question number 5, have you picked up any new skills? I love learning stuff, and so while there aren't any new skills that I'm picking up, there are several things that I'm continuing to try to learn. About 20 minutes a day, I will be working through learning Mandarin. I use these books by a company called Mandarin Companion, and you can kind of get the level that you're at. If you've had taken like at least a year of Mandarin, you could probably do their very first breakout level, but these are all just in Mandarin, and so it takes me a while to get through a book. Like I've been working on this one for a few weeks and I'm only that far, but I spend about 20 minutes a day going through it, and I try to look up as little stuff as possible and try to understand what words mean based on the context. And they tell you what some of the words mean, but there's no, if you know anything about Mandarin, there's no like pinyin in there, and there's no like, it's not like written above under the definitions of some of the words are like in the back of the book if you need to check. So I've been continuing with that, and typically I train jiu-jitsu a few times a week, but the jiu-jitsu gym is closed. And so I've been reading a jiu-jitsu book about one of the top coaches in jiu-jitsu, a lot of his reflections. These are really just a bunch of his Instagram posts that have been combined into a book, because he writes these long, super kind of philosophical thoughts on jiu-jitsu on his Instagram posts. So I've been looking at that and looking at some fight breakdown videos where they kind of analyze what's going on. And recently, as far as kind of like my teacher business side of things, I'm really trying to understand and learn more about WordPress. It's super confusing, and like I want my website to look really nice and polished, and right now it's just like not that. And so I've been doing a little bit of research and seeing what I like. I'm probably gonna hire that out to somebody else to do for me because it's just like it's not even something I really want to learn how to do because it feels so daunting. But I've been learning more a little bit about what it takes to have like a nice, clean, polished WordPress website. And most importantly, I am learning how to be a dad, and we've got a new one, Audrey, who is a little bit over a month old. So lots of new skills there, learning diaper changes and swaddling and sleep cycles and feeding and all sorts of really fun stuff. We've loved our time with a little Audrey, and she's a pretty awesome baby. The next question is, what are your Netflix recommendations? Not the tiger one. My wife was really into the tiger one, and I kind of just ended up playing on my phone on most of it. I'm like, this is super weird, and I'm kind of not into it. Those first couple of weeks when Audrey was waking up like in the middle of the night and she wouldn't go to sleep unless someone was holding her, and I didn't want to fall asleep while I was holding her, I would end up watching Netflix's Love is Blind. It's a total like garbage reality dating show, but it was pretty captivating. People decided who they were gonna marry based on just interacting with the other person behind a wall that they never saw. Super weird. And there were plenty of super crazy people on that show. The next question is, what habits have you picked up? The main thing is actually, I feel like I've had less habits that I've been picking up because I'm a very habit-oriented, routine-oriented person. And when you have a newborn, like, your routine kind of just goes off of what the baby's routine is. And so she eats when she wants and she sleeps when she wants, and some nights she sleeps great and some nights not. So my new habits are just finding little pockets of time to go run or to read or to do whatever it is that I want to do in the time where maybe she's asleep and Sarah's asleep or whatever. Next question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your anxiety level right now? Honestly, it's probably like at a 2. Maybe. I don't really feel super anxious. The only times I'm just like, wow, I wonder, I do sit and I think about like, what's gonna happen with all this? Like, what's the future of education gonna look like with this? What's the future of our economy gonna look like? But I don't feel like this rising anxiety because I know there's a lot of stuff there that I have no control over. And so I just mainly try to focus on the things that I can control and what my day looks like and things like that. And I'm not a very anxious person. So I would say my anxiety levels are pretty low. The next question is, what is your distance learning outfit of the day? Now, even though I'm not doing my distance learning, my plan is if I go back and we are still doing distance learning, I plan on wearing a collar shirt and a tie because I do want to show up for the kids in the same way that I would show up for them if we were in session at school and not just doing virtual school. I also think it'll be kind of funny, and I'm going to try to maybe kind of start up maybe like a fancy or a formal flex day Wednesday where I invite the kids to also dress up with me on Wednesdays. And there's already a couple of students that do tie day Fridays where every Friday they'll wear a tie. So I think that could be kind of fun and throw a little bit of novelty in the fact that I know a lot of these kids are probably staying in their pajamas all day. I am not the type to stay in my pajamas all day. Even when I have not been doing any distance learning or leaving the house, I will still wear jeans and a t-shirt. But being that my routine and my schedule is kind of thrown off, if I know I'm not going to work out until like the afternoon when I'm going to go for a run when Audrey is down for a nap, then I'll wear my running clothes for the full morning and then shower and then kind of wear my normal clothes in the afternoon. But no sweatpants, pajamas all day for me. The next question is, if your students were watching, what would you say to them? I do know that a few of the students are subscribed to this channel, even though it is meant for other educators. And I would tell them to make time to go outside every day, make time to find ways to do maybe something new and different with your family that you maybe haven't done before, as opposed to just watching Netflix every night, maybe having game night or cooking together. As someone who loves to learn, I think there's a really great opportunity. I hope they are getting lots of opportunities to do meaningful work in all of their classes. But even outside of that, I think using this opportunity to learn is something that they would really love to learn about, whether it's how to design a video game or how to cook a certain thing or whatever it is. Take this opportunity to do some self-generated learning. And I would let them know that I do look forward to seeing them when I come back in early May, even if it does happen to be on Zoom. And the last question is, what do you miss most about your class? The weird thing was that Sarah had Audrey 2 weeks early. And so like I literally left school on a Thursday when I was still planning on being at school for the next week and a half until spring break had started. And so I remember talking with my middle school director and I was getting a text from Sarah who was at her appointment. She's like, "Hey, baby's coming tomorrow." And I'm like, "Hey, Roberto, I'm actually going on paternity leave a little early." So it felt like such a fast withdrawal. And I think a lot of teachers are feeling that even though they didn't have a baby, because the sudden decisions based on the coronavirus were kind of the same thing where it's like you were in school one day and then all of a sudden you're not at school for a certain amount of time and you didn't really get a chance to say goodbye or anything like that to your students. And so I do, while that's not really something that I miss about my class, there is that lack of kind of finality. Like I didn't even say goodbye to my students before my paternity leave started. But as far as like going to school and working with kids, I do miss that routine in my day where I'd have some time in the morning and then I would go to work and spend time at school with the students and then come home and make dinner and hang out with my wife. And like, I think having like that nice chunk of the day where I had somewhere to go and people to be with and a higher calling of like teaching kids and everything like that. I do miss that because it may be a pretty long stretch with all of this happening leading into summer break as well. And so for me, it's not only adapting to kind of being a new dad and having like that new dynamic involved, but also once I start back up, like what's it gonna look like to work from home? I kind of have this nice setup right here to do a lot of this kind of work. So I don't think it's gonna be something where it's like, oh, really jarring. I've done live streams on YouTube and stuff before. So the distance learning, I think, could be something that I really enjoy once I start doing it. Obviously not the same as getting a chance to interact with the kids in person, but we shall see. But that is something that I do miss about going to school every day. But thanks so much for Darin and Marie Morris, another teacher YouTuber, for coming up with this idea. I think it's really fun. I think it gets the teacher YouTuber community a way to connect during this time of quarantine and distance learning. But if you're a teacher and you have a YouTube channel or you want to start a YouTube channel, would love to hear what your thoughts and what your answers are for this distance learning teacher tag. Go ahead and use the hashtag DLTT, distance learning teacher tag. Leave a link to your video in the comments below. That being said, my name is Thom Gibson. I hope you learned something today that will help you do meaningful and memorable work in your classroom, even if it's a virtual classroom. Be sure to subscribe if you'd like to stay in the loop with any upcoming videos, and I will see you in the next one.